I've never had uncapped potential income wise like I have here, or had a network of family that I could work with like here. So I mean, in the end of the day, I'm just looking for anybody that's my age bracket that, I mean, I don't care what gender you are. Honestly, I know that you can identify as a helicopter now, but like,
Welcome to the Elite Sales Podcast. I'm joined in studio this week by Yoel Einalim, actually in front of the camera this time. Our normal engineer.
Was good.
Guest. You special?
I guess so.
All right. And then we got John Bacaron, our one of our mainstays. And then we have our special guest, joining us from the East Coast. We got Nick Caban, which we'll get to in just a second. Appreciate you hopping on. But for all you guys that are joining us for this week, just wanted to tell you guys, appreciate you guys. We don't have any new numbers to put out yet. Yeah. The last week has not been posted yet, but we'll get those out to you guys soon. But with our guest that we have on this week, Nick, he came over from another company, and he's same company that we all came from as well.
Jeez, recurring theme.
It's a recurring theme, and here's the thing: like, it started getting me thinking about change in general. Okay, so change, as we know, it's a constant thing in life. We all will experience change, and even if you choose not to change, or you put in your head conceptually you don't want to make a change, or you think you're not changing, things are changing with or without you.
Right.
Like, the thing is, days will continue to pass. We all have a certain period of time here on Earth in the current form that we exist in. So the thing is, even if we don't do a single thing, we're going to change. So when it comes to change, we always think about, why is this so difficult for so many people? Because change for a lot of people, like, it's a very difficult concept for them to accept, or they choose not to make any, purposeful changes. So a lot of times, change is difficult. Can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
People are just generally resistant to change. Like, why do you guys think that is?
I think it's the discomfort. It's the discomfort of, now I have to learn something new. And then even if you do learn that one thing that's new, you're going to have to learn something else, after that, and let go of that. And that's uncomfortable, because we want to be on default. We want to be on autopilot. It's comfortable. It's safe. It's cheap. It's predictable, but, at the same time, I think that it's bad, but, we can get into why, or, whatever it may be, but it's comfort. It's just comfort.
Okay. Yeah, my perspective is funny, because I was just reading the book The Slight Edge last night, and I was telling Mr. Albert. So it's a disconnect between the change you want, which is the result, right? The positive outcome that you want, versus the disconnect of your attitude, your action. And it comes back to, so the first chapter, I got to like one chapter, but it's called the secret ingredient, your philosophy, which comes down to your belief, right? So a lot of people, they want, let's say you want to lose weight. Not to point at you. Let's use Albert.
I don't care. You can use me.
Taking shots.
I'm a big boy.
I should you has been losing weight. But let's say you want to lose weight, right? So you want the outcome. You want the outcome of lost pounds. But how would be your attitude about your action of losing the weight if you don't have the belief that you really want to lose the weight, right? So, okay, there's the gym. There's going to the gym. There's the working out. There's the eating. All these things. If you feel your belief that it's a negative connotation, it's a negative belief, you're not going to change. You don't have the positive philosophy to it, right? Yeah. So I just went through my call. I do my own call at 1:30, and I was applying that into dialing, right? So we all know how to dial. We got the scripts, we got the rebuttals, we got whatever else. We know how to. But if you don't believe that dialing is good for you, if you have like fears of dialing, you have anxiety of dialing, previous failures before, poor performance, or you have just burnout. This happens a lot for like a lot of veteran agents that did it before. They feel a little entitled, like, I've done it. I don't want to dial again anymore. it doesn't matter how good you are with dialing. It doesn't matter how great you are with rebuttals. You're not going to start because you have a bad belief about it.
Yeah.
So how can you change if you don't change that?
Right. Yes. I mean, I think that's a good point. When it comes to change, we all have to understand what the reason is behind it. You know, for us to embrace the change, like you have to be optimistic that the change is going to bring you to a better position than where you currently are. So when you're changing, like you have to ask yourself, why do you need to change?
Yeah.
You know, because the thing is, if you get a better utility out of the new result, or if, you know, by making this change, you're healthier, you make more money, you're happier, you know, whatever reason it is, it makes sense to do it. So the thing is, then you have to ask yourself, can you change? You know, by can you change is, are you willing to make certain sacrifices? You know, are you willing to take on something new, like Nick has done by coming onto a new company? Like these are things that, you know, we need to make that decision for ourselves. And then the last thing when it comes to change is you got to ask yourself, what do you lose by not changing?
Yeah.
Right. Because I think by not changing, Nick, you can go ahead and mute yourself now, because I'm gonna
Yeah, for sure.
some input. But for the people that are reluctant to change, people that are slow to change, people that refuse to change,
Yeah.
what are they potentially losing out on?
Say that last part one more time.
What are they potentially losing out on for the people that don't change?
I think honestly, just a better opportunity for their family. Like, I think everybody signed up for the same reason, financial freedom, or just to provide better for their family. And they had this dream that was put in front of them and realized it was a little bit less attainable than they thought. Yeah. And then in this opportunity, I didn't realize that it was actually more attainable than I thought after I made the switch, obviously. But it's just having that raw result of actually like knowing that, like they said, you got to learn a little bit newer of a system, whatever. I think that's a little bit uncomfortable for people to make that switch. Yeah, for sure. And for me, I had to either make a choice. Either I was going to make more money for my son, and I had within probably less than 30 days to make that decision, whether I was going to switch over or not. Or I was going to go back to making money, like pretty, not bad, like probably 22, going back to like electrical work or installing solar panels probably. But working a W-2 and then getting back in that mindset and not really being in the 1099 mindset of I want to actually build, and like kind of not just for me, but for other people, to show them that they don't have to, like my boys, to show them they don't have to like stick it out through college if that's not something they really don't want to do. You know, I think a lot of people are just picking the safe bet, and then to have to leave and make that change, it's like it wasn't hard for me because I have a really strong why. So for me, it was just instant. Like, am I going to make more money? Yes. Can I trust the people that have been speaking to me? I did have to speak to a couple leaders because it took me a little bit of convincing to come over. But after, obviously, it was just knowing that I would have a good support system. And I think a lot of people don't have that when they go to make that change. They don't have a lot of people that they can 100% count on, like Hutch did for me, because like he's my boy. So he knew that he could count on my word. Not just like possibly, oh, maybe he's just getting overrides and that's why he wants me to come over here. You know, a lot of people think that it's like just that people don't have their best interests at heart. But I was just surprised when I came over to FFL, because Micah's followed through everything he said was 100% true, if not a little bit more. So it was great. Yeah, for sure.
So I'm actually going to take a step back and give you the formal introduction, since I'm botched that one. But this is Nick Caban, for all of you that haven't got a chance to meet him yet. How long have you been with us now?
Since March.
And where are you joining us out of New
York? I'm in Massachusetts right now. Me and Hutch are actually working together today.
Okay.
I work out of Rhode Island generally, out of Providence, Smithfield County. I technically like to run though leads all the way up to Connecticut, Massachusetts. I put 700 miles on my car a week sometimes.
So you're still doing face-to-face?
I love field for me because the energy face-to-face, my closing ratio is usually in the 90th percentile. Now I have zero pushback. And if I do, it's for something that makes 100% sense, or they just can't qualify at that point. And then my job's done, and I try my best to get referrals on my way out, you know, see who else I can help. At least it wasn't a wasted trip.
So for Nick, for those of you that don't know, I mean, we don't have the official numbers for the month of October, but you're over 20 families helped for the month, right?
Yeah. I was shooting for 30.
Okay. we still got to wait for the numbers to shake out. Maybe
Yeah.
we're closer to that than we think. But either way, that's that's a great way to start for a relatively new agent. How long you been with us again?
Only since March. So, I mean, really, yeah, I guess I have been with you guys for about like 7 months, 8 months now.
Okay.
How long have you been in the insurance industry?
I did start 2020, so about 2 years now.
Okay.
2 years. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and then and obviously you work with Marlon and Micah and Hutch and all those guys, some real killers. So how was your transition coming over to something like this?
Like to insurance, you're saying, sir?
Well, yeah. What got you into insurance in the first place? We'll start with that.
I was actually working at Ford. I was a car salesman. I was a top representative for about a year straight, and I was just getting a little bit stressed out because my pay was capped, and I was making $6,000 to $8,000 on average, and then it would stop around the $8,000 mark because it would start giving sales to other representatives that were in the lobby. It doesn't matter. I had a sales background, so my brother at the time was reached out, noticed I was doing really good in the sales industry, wanted to bring me into insurance, told me I could do. I told him to prove it. He showed me a pay stub for that week. I talked to my management about possibly building passive income through insurance and get my license. And then from then on, it was just kind of me just devoting myself. I actually was in a kind of a tough situation, but my brother had, I was homeless for like about a month, living out of my car. I went through a tough situation, but I had to fly up here. And my brother gave me a place to stay, train me. And then after about a year and a half not even a year and a half, about a year into AIL, I started kind of noticing a lot because my brother had left and he was my management. So when he brought me in and he left, I was like, what? So now it's just me here. And then I didn't really feel so safe anymore and like trusted in the system, and then kind of started questioning things around me.
Where did he go?
He went to Uber because, so he actually, with the agency we were at, I won't go into a bunch of details, but he was put through a lot of stuff mentally to the point where he just was traumatized to even be in the insurance industry anymore. And then when I showed him the opportunity at FFL, I really tried to bring my brother back because he did care about serving families and helping people. And he kind of started the fire in me for it. So I wanted to make sure. Yeah.
I'll mute that out. I'm the one that edits this, but I just wanted to say that.
Sadly, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, is that something you're still kind of working on, or as far as you're getting your brother in?
Yeah, that's a everyday type of thing for me. So I believe some seeds take longer to grow. So I mean, at the end of the day, he's gonna have to see the results. Maybe he's gonna have to see it turn into me having an agency with multiple agents where everybody's successful under me. I'm slowly building a system right now, where I can generate around 5K P plus a week consistently. So I think that after I've built a consistent system where I'm generating 10 to 15 a week, how could he say no at that point? And I'm a pretty convincing person, especially when you're my blood. So I'll get him. He'll be on my team sooner or later.
Possibly, maybe even just like putting him on as an hourly administrative task.
Right.
Then he starts seeing your income on a week-to-week basis, and there you go.
Yeah, that could work.
Well, we also know you're persistent from the last time that Hutch was on. He told us how you just continued to drip on them, continue to work on it. So we know you got it in you.
Hey,
there's Hutch.
There's the man.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I just believe in the end of the day, if somebody tells you no, they just don't know enough, So I mean, it just takes time.
Well, so I think that's the thing about a lot of people that get into this business. When it comes to warm market, a lot of them, they overthink it. They just think, hey, I got to wait till I have my numbers right. I got to make sure that I know what I'm doing so I can teach them, I can train them, or they just think like, what if they come in and they don't do it? But you don't have any doubt about that here.
No. I from the first week, obviously, like my first week here, I did 16 families. And then after, it was just a consistent 5 to 6 a week. So for me, it's been, I feel like as long as you keep the momentum going, there's no way it could stop. And if you're consistently writing business, there's no way you won't have like a cushioning, you know, like for a bad week. So I definitely know that the leads want life insurance this time, and that makes 100% difference. Now it's just about getting in front of them and how badly do I actually want to get in front of these people. And I believe in getting your investment back the same day. So if I just invested like 4, 5, $800, I'm going to get that back. And there's no way that even after the turn that I'm not going to continuously try to pursue every single lead in that pack. Because if they haven't been dialed 3 times, twice a day for the last 2 weeks, you haven't actually contacted them enough times on average to get in contact with them. Because the average person picks up after like the 8th or 9th dial. You're not going to dial them that many times in a row. So you're going to do 3 in the morning, 3 afternoon after you circle back to them. They don't pick up that day, next dial day, they should. So It's just about how much you're actually trying to extinguish your leads. And I think a lot of people just don't really put their all efforts in. And then they're like, oh, I gave it my all. I put $400 in. I dialed for 5 hours today. That's enough. I think if you were to take your whatever other company you worked at schedule and bring it here, there's no way. No, it's not possible not to be effective here. You're going to make money.
Yeah, I think that's true. A lot of people psych themselves out way too soon because then they tell themselves, I worked all day and I didn't see any results. But if you actually look at how many, and generally, if you're someone like Nick here and you're putting in that time, you're going to see results.
Yeah, it's just a numbers game. At the end of the day, like a certain amount of dials, like 250 to 300 dials a day. It's going to add up to a certain amount of books per day, 20 to 15. And then out of that, it's just about shows, getting in front of people. It's all a numbers game. So, I mean, if you really are putting in the numbers and then you're just not getting books, it's breaks back down to your rebuttals. And then it's just working with your manager and reaching out. So that point, it's just you not reaching out enough to people to actually network and get the help you really do need. That's offered at all ends. Cause I've had so many people, not even just through excellence, try to help me. Like Zachary Hawthorne was a big help when I first started with FFL. He was a great guy. And he was willing to answer a call even when I wasn't on his team, you know, and that it was not like that at my last company. So,
yeah. And to be fair, I mean, at the old company, it's tough. It's tough to be like morality is a lot of the times it's like a privilege, right? Like we're nice here, you know, because we're not, you know, struggling. Like our old company, you know, even if you worked really hard, you were slightly above water, if that, maybe below water. So you're already stressed yourself, let alone accepting a call from someone that's not on your team is like an added stress and added time away from what you're doing, right? So I think it just goes to the climate, you know, that you were involved in back then. And then it speaks a testament to the environment you're in now, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was the image that was put out there that there was a lot of money being made with designer labels and stuff being posted on social media. But at the end of the day, like I could have weeks there, and then in the end, I wasn't making near as much as I was actually making here. And you don't see me like posting designer. I mean, I don't know if you're on social media with me, but if you are, I'm not a type of guy that's gonna be posting Gucci, Louis all day and spending my money on that, because in the reality, like the people who are really focused on like financial freedom and pursuing that dream know that they got to put everything aside and like really just invest into their leads and just keep the momentum going and just play broke until you're actually rich, you know? So, I mean, yeah, it's impossible not to make money. And I think that everybody here is willing to help for sure, because they're making money, because it's a winning system. Like there's no way that you can't buy every single lead too. It's crazy because I used to, like when I first started the FFL, I was like, oh, I can only work mortgage protection. And then I started working like 2-month-old ones. I realized you just got to put a couple more dials on each lead. Like maybe you got to dial 400 on 2 months instead of 300 on 1 month. And like every lead does work. So there's a system for every single lead. And then if you want to do telesales, there's a whole agency willing to train you weekly. And if you want to sit in, I think it's crazy the amount of like help that's offered here. Yeah.
Well, so speaking of systems, what's your work schedule look like? You know,
for sure.
When you purchase your leads, when do you run your
I'll be honest with you, I work a little bit more hours than the average person, but I just believe in like like kind of just sacrificing now for later. So I do 7 days a week. A lot of people do take Sundays off. I believe the weekends are the days where the money's to be made because all the families are home. And I come from knocking doors. Like I used to work for Vivint Smart Home back before I worked for Ford. So I used to knock in the snow, hail till like 11 at night. So I don't care, like really when it comes to that kind of stuff, like grinding the hours out. I'll start at 7:30 in the morning, be ready to dial before 8 o'clock on Monday. I buy my leads at 5 a.m. as soon as they drop and hit. They're fresh on Monday. Generally, I'm investing around 500 to 600 bucks that morning. I'm getting 1 month's, 2 months mortgage mailers, and then I run final expense 1 month too. I like instant leads with beneficiaries. I mix it up. I supplement with mortgage mailers too. If you want to look into locking out counties, definitely talk to your manager about it. But yeah, so on average, I'm probably spending, I'd say I get about 2 lead packs a week. Sometimes I only get one and I try to extinguish it as much as possible. But the ROI is kind of crazy right now. It's just been, I've been putting in about 400 to 500 and getting about back a week. So it's been really kind of crazy. And I think
3
the
to 4
system's
families.
just crazy. I work about, I'll be honest, my dials, it's about $300 a day because I do manual. I don't use phone burner. If you're gonna run, like, I feel like age leads, it's probably a good idea to do phone burner because you're gonna have to hit 500 to 600 in a day. But yeah, I dial from 7:30 to noon. I take my break to run errands and call carriers, which probably the best time to call carriers a lot earlier than that because America will have you on hold for like an hour and a half if you call one.
Yep.
But yeah, so I use that time to 2 to take care of all that stuff, and then I'm back on from 2 to 8. And then to be honest, if you ask anybody on my team, I know a lot of people take time to make food and stuff. I think you should either have that prepped. If you don't have it prepped, like make a protein shake. If not, skip the meal and make the money, So like, I just think that it's super, super important to be like laser focused in, no distractions. And then like, if you want to be on the Zoom, like make sure that you're actually unmuted so that somebody can like help you. Cause if you're not unmuted and then you have an issue, nobody heard that call. So like, how are they supposed to really help you?
And it's not just you unmuting so someone can help you. Sometimes by you unmuting, you're actually helping other people because it gives them that confidence. Maybe you said something that they've been struggling with and they hear it. You're contributing back to the overall.
I've had some people blast me before on the phones, and then my recruit was definitely a lot happier to hop on after he saw me just completely get blasted by some people. Just because when they see that you're getting like bad interactions too, because it's not just them. They're like, okay, so I don't just suck at this. There's just a lot of angry people out there. Yeah, man. Not a lot of people want to be blown up on the phone, but once they realize how important it is and why you're doing it, you can get that point across and have conviction in what you say and enough belief, you'll get the appointment, dude. That's all it is. It's just actually believing in what you say and having conviction at that point.
It's ironic because you think as a leader, or if you want to be a good teammate to other people, you think, oh, I just need to tell them good things that they want to hear. You want to encourage them.
Be positive.
Where ironically, the thing is that when I talk to people, a lot of times when I tell them, oh yeah, I've struggled with this too, or like, yeah, I wasn't always at this point, this is a real difficult thing. They're always like, that makes me feel so much better. Because they're always like, I just thought it was just me. People internalize it and they think it's just me going through this experience, where in reality, we all go through it. Just some people choose to talk about it. Some people don't. Some people choose to focus on it. Some people don't focus on it as much, which you've been able to compartmentalize that. How do you get past getting blown up?
Getting past
or getting cussed out or getting told to go to hell.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, I enlisted in an army at a high school, so drill sergeants I was fine after that. And then I grew up with a Puerto Rican mom from the Bronx, so I'm so okay with like loud people and like swearing and stuff that I kind of like water off a duck's back. I think in the end of the day too, like that projection that they're putting out there is just a kind of reflection on themselves. So in the end of the day, if they're really that angry and they got a lot of stuff going on, you should have, if you're a human being, you should be an empath at that point and have some sympathy for what they got going on. Cause you never know. Maybe they filled out that life insurance lead because they just lost somebody, which I've had that happen a few times. And then after I diffuse them, it's honestly it's a lot nicer because those clients that you diffuse that turn out angry, actually turn out to be some of your strongest sales, actually like your nicest clients, like the people that you actually reach out and say happy birthday to you. It's just like I think a lot of people can't see through that, and they take it personal, and it's never personal. None of that is ever personal. And I think that's kind of the line where people like will hang up instead of trying to diffuse them and figure out really like asking enough questions. Because if you just continuously ask questions, they're not hanging up. You still got them on the phone, And I mean, Aristotle, he was known for asking so many questions, and that's how he'd figure out the problem. That's how he'd figure out what type of person you are, and then get to know you, just asking questions, even if he always assumed he didn't know the answer, So if you just assume the entire time they're not really mad, they did fill this out, you just got to figure out like why they're so angry and why they're saying they didn't fill it out. Dude, I've had so many people I flipped that are like, okay, well, I was just making sure that like we had enough coverage for my husband. I was just trying to get a better rate. And then I started getting a lot of calls. So just cancel it. And I'm like, I'm not going to cancel. I'm going to do my job, but I'm going to make sure that the calls stop on my end. So just so I can do that, I just wanted to make sure, because I was going to be in your area the next couple of days. Do you normally prefer a weekday or a weekend? It takes about 10 to 15 minutes. And then if it's less is more. So simple is better and just quick in, out the door. I mean, I book to get in front of people because it's probably a little different for telesales, but when I can get in front of somebody, that's all Sean Mike says it is. Like, we just got to get in front of them, dude. Like just, I'm going to come out to you. I'm going to be out here this and this. Which time works best for you? Option close. And then solidify it, letting them know your name, and then kind of get their mind off of it. I know the parking situation in Providence is kind of hectic. You want me to park in the driveway or the side street? Okay. And then at that point, it's just their mind's off of it. And like, you just alleviated the tension, and then you get off the phone, So, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I feel so bad for people that like have never, like, there's going to be, I mean, that's just kind of going to be the future. Virtual. It's super convenient. It's a beautiful thing. Everyone wants to be in, Cuba with the VPN.
I'll be honest. I would love to go telesales too.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it makes sense. Like it's great, but there's a lot of people that are never going to get the experience of being like, hey, okay, you're there. Okay, I'm pulling up. I'll be there. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
And then you just pull up, and then like they didn't even know really what it was about, but you have a great conversation. You talk about their needs. They get you maybe some coffee, and you get a personal connection with someone that you wouldn't have had, and then you move on to the next. Like, that's such a beautiful thing that I feel like a lot of people are going to miss out on. So it's cool that you're still doing that.
Not
I mean,
just
at
that,
the old
but-
company, we had to do that.
Yeah, you're missing out on door knocks, right?
Yeah, I also I believe in that too. Like, for instance, if you get no-showed, I forget the agency, I forget her name. Marissa, I think Maggio was talking about this, but it's called a 2x2 rule that if you get no-showed, you should have 2 homes in the area to just go door knock real quick with the mailer slip. That way, if you get no-showed, maybe you can still get an appointment and same day book out of it and then get into a home, And I mean, a lot of people aren't comfortable with door knocking. That kind of comes with experience, and then shadowing for a little bit and getting out of your comfort zone to the point where you don't care about somebody telling you to beat it and get off their property. At that point, you're just trying to help and do your job. Weren't trying to offend anybody. So, I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's definitely a great experience to have too. I think a lot of people like are cheating themselves out of a lot of money by not door knocking leads, because there's been so many lead packs that I've been like, you think that that's extinguished? Let me have it. And then I'll literally go door knock some of those leads and pick up $4 or $5 grand out of that pack. And I'm like, and you were just talking about not having money to buy leads. If you would have just knocked some doors, you would have had it, like, tenfold. It's just a lot of people don't want to do the extra work. And like, there's a lot more that comes with this job, I feel like, that people expect, because when they're like, I get to make my own hours and stuff, like, yeah, you totally do. But like, it's just what you put in, you get back. So, I mean, you could totally put in 20 hours a week, but also you got to get around that learning curve. If you've never been in sales and you've never been in insurance, you should probably speed up that learning curve and sacrifice 70, 80-hour weeks real quick just the first month, so that you're way ahead of everybody else who started the same point you did. You know, not a lot of people are willing to make those sacrifices when their girlfriend wants them to go out and they have like their friends that had made plans with them a week ago, and they're like, whoa, bro, I bought tickets to this football game. Okay. I canceled trips to travel to Florida to go see my son. Like, what? That doesn't mean anything to me, Like, there's a lot of stuff that I think people don't understand, like the boat that other people are in, and they have it so good compared to others, and they just don't realize, like, if they were to just like stop complaining and get to work, like it would just be a lot better for everybody, you know?
Yeah. So speaking of work, so what would you say your start time for your first appointment on your field and your last?
I run early. I like early appointments. So I start at 9 a.m. I book, actually Micah helped me a lot with this because I realized I was getting to a lot of my appointments late because I used to book them by hour. Then I realized, like, obviously if one's a 30-minute trip away and I'm obviously not closing it in home in 20 minutes, I'm going to be late. So I started booking every 2 hours. So it goes 9 to 11 to 1. And then I usually from 1 to 2 will grab lunch somewhere on the road if I don't have like a protein shake with me, and then a pre-packed meal. And then from 2 p.m., like all the way up to for 2, 4, and then 6, and then like 8. I mean, I've been out in the field to 9, 10 at night in a home.
Right.
I've driven out with Hutch actually at 8:30, made it to the guy's house by 9:30, and then we left at like 11 something at night.
Mhm.
So
what would you? So since you're booking 2 hours out, well, what's your normal go to?
So if I book, yeah. So if I'm running, I strictly run dial days Mondays to book up for Tuesday, Wednesday, and then after you booked up, because I don't believe in booking super far out. Because like for instance, a sale is defined as a purchase made at the peak of emotion. So like for instance, 5 days out, like you're probably not going to remember anything, you know. So like especially, I mean, I could have drip reminders coming in from Calendly, but in the end of the day, that might just get annoying, and you might just cancel it through the drip, which I've had happen multiple times. So just book up, I suggest, for the next 48 hours, next day to 48 hours, and then restart the cycle on Thursday, buy your leads again, and then book up Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Or if you don't work Sundays, obviously, Friday, Saturday, and then just keep that same cycle going. So you have 2 field days in a row to work, and then just another dial day to restart the process. And then obviously Sunday for your family day or whatever you got to do, like laundry.
I was just saying for like, so since you're booking 2 hours out, so if you do get no showed, that gives you 2 hours of door knocking.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then also you can do like a T formation, for instance, like I know a lot of like, this is like, I feel like when you get just good at like, cause I have a 5-foot rule. So if I go out to eat or something, I'm going to either talk to you about joining my team, or if you don't have a policy in place, I'd like to just educate you a little bit. So I think that a lot of people just knock their leads and stuff. I will sometimes knock the home across from my lead that didn't answer, and then I'll do a T formation because I'm good at door knocking and I like talking to people face to face. And I'll just explain that I was a local broker in the area that was just sent out to go over their final expense programs to the state just to see what they qualify for. And then I usually just ask them if they have anything in place. And then sometimes yes, sometimes no. And if they do have something in place, you just ask them if they'd like to do a policy review. And I mean, it's a swing and a miss, but shooters shoot, you know?
There you go. But so when you say T, you get one across and the one to the left and to the right.
Yeah. So here, next door neighbors, and then across the street.
Right.
Nick is dropping some real game. Telling you guys, right? If you guys are not purchasing leads or investing in enough leads, and you say you don't have enough activity, I mean, that's one way to go about it. But you know, Nick, with your approach, I mean, you're clearly very straightforward. You're not shy about reaching out to strangers and start initiating a conversation. Have you always been that way, or did you have to change at some point to get comfortable?
I'll be honest. I've always been a very outgoing person. I'm a very extroverted person. But when it comes to my business, even when I started with like in sales and media, I wouldn't talk to any of my friends, any of my family, anybody on social media. I was so nervous just to like make myself look a fool, you know, to my friends and family. I think once I got over that hump and I was able to start talking to my friends and family about what I did, then it made it so easy for me to talk to a stranger. Because if I can get over my friends and family thinking that I'm a fool, then like, I don't care what you think, you know, like, the end of the day, no offense, but I'm just saying like, that's just how my attitude is. So yeah, it wasn't really a big thing for me to get over that hump. I know a lot of people have to get out of their comfort zone. No pressure, no diamonds, no struggle, no strength, you know, man. So I think in the end of the day, you got to get out of that, whether you like it or not. Everybody, even you, I'm sure Albert, is getting out of his comfort zone daily, you know? So like everybody's uncomfortable that's doing well and successful. So, I mean, in the end of the day, like you have to stay uncomfortable. And if you're starting to get comfortable, you're going to probably start to get complacent, and then you're going to start to dial a little bit less, you know, and then get a little bit more confident. And that ego is going to build you to the point where you start getting chargebacks, and then that ego doesn't really pay for anything, you know? So, I mean, yeah, I think for me, it never took much for me to get out of that other than selling my friends and family. And then that was it.
Well, you initially you didn't want to talk to them about it, which I mean, I was very much the same way when I first started. I think for me, it was kind of like I kind of doubted whether like I doubted myself a little bit and didn't know how they would receive it.
Yeah,
What made you
exactly.
change? Is that what the same thing, your experience?
Yeah, I think it was just like I didn't feel as professional enough. And then I think once I got my contract at the previous company, I was like, oh, I got my contract. I got a couple photos on social media. I'm respected. You know,
I've made it.
A big time now.
Yeah, right.
I got my extension bonus, or what do the NBA players get? I got my extension.
Well, going back to something you said earlier, I think I really liked the way that you overcame that objection when someone, you know, cusses you out or tells you to go to hell or whatever it is, right? Like the thing is, you didn't take it personally, and then you took a very logical, methodical approach to like coming back at them. You know,
If somebody's that angry, and the other day, I've had people that have kindly told me like, hey, I really didn't fill this out. That point might be a spouse or family member in the home that really did do it for them. But if they're really that angry, they probably just got blown up. So like and you got to think about it from there. You got to put yourself in this industry. I feel like all it is us putting ourselves in other people's shoes,
right,
to understand. So like, if you're not doing that when you're on the phone and you're not really trying to place yourself in their shoes and understand like why they're like so angry at you and you're not asking enough questions, you don't even deserve to take care of them. Somebody else does that's going to ask the right questions and actually care enough to take care of them. And I think in the end of the day, like I will obviously always have those people that flip out on me and I try to diffuse them. And then like out of nowhere, I'm just like Albert, and then they're just not there, you know, because they hung up and they didn't know what to say. But yeah, I mean, as long as I feel like you can like come from an sympathetic perspective, like there's no way you wouldn't be able to flip them or at least like feel good about yourself after you got off the phone, you know, because I never feel bad after I get cussed out.
Yeah, if you gave everything you could and you couldn't get the results.
Exactly. Like no regrets after that call, you know, like I did all I could. I tried my best, like on to the next, you know, and in the end of the day too, you got to get through the no's to get to the yeses. So like I always expect after I book an appointment, I'm like, all right, I'm about to get 10 no's. And I just like expect rebuttals. Like I just expect it. So and that way it doesn't really hit me when I realize I got 8 no's in a row. And then somebody's like, dang, like normally somebody would be like, oh my God, I think I'm gonna take a break from dialing. They'll walk away, go get a drink. Next thing I know, an half hour's passed. And then they come back to dialing, they get a couple more no's. They're like, my whole morning's been crap. And you're like, what? Like, how many leads you dial? Well, 15, 20, but I got like 11 no's out of that. And you're like, I did that in like an hour. So like, and it's been 4 hours. So like, what have you been doing? Like, you know, and you can tell that they lost motivation and their discipline didn't kick in. So at the end of the day, like not everybody's motivated, but those disciplinary habits that you've instilled like for 21 days, if you can at least just show up at 7:30 and just keep waking up. And like biggest thing for me, honestly, was getting up on time. I would sleep into like 8 o'clock. And then I saw that Dave Witchard was talking about like if you're not on by 7:55, like you're messing up. And I was just like, dang, like I'm not even on till 9. Like, and I feel like I'm making my own hours at this point. I didn't realize how big that hour was. And then I worked at 7:45 to like 9 a.m. and I got like 5 appointments before 9 a.m. And I was like, dang, I'm never not going to start dialing at 7:45 again. So, yeah.
That's really good though, that, you know, just from you bringing up these other trainers, that just goes to show that you've been actually doing your homework. You've been watching a lot of YouTube videos. You've been watching a lot of trainings.
Yeah, I think that you should definitely try to network as much as you can and like learn, like, because like you guys are saying, you can learn something from everybody. So like you'll take something from everybody, like a different trainer. Like I think at the end of the day, you shouldn't just focus on one person. Like I want to be like them. Like I've reached out to Michael Sandman, Dave Witchard came out here. I've reached out to a couple like young guns like Wiley. There's just like, I think everybody that's doing good in this industry has something to offer, obviously. So, and you need to surround yourself with who you want to be like. And like, in the end of the day, like I just feel like if I'm surrounding myself with 4 or 5 like agency owners instead of 4 or 5 agents trying to become agency owners, it's going to happen a little bit quicker for me. And then they're going to kind of give me the answers I need compared to like me learning them along the way with the person that I'm trying to learn from.
And that's a major key. I think you definitely should always try to learn from people that are doing better than you, or people whose position you'd be happy in, or you whose results you want. Because that's also the thing. In this business, you're always going to get advice.
Right.
Sometimes it's really bad advice, really terrible advice. From because it could be from your family members,
Right.
or from agents that are struggling because they're not putting in the work, and they tell you like how tough it is. Like this is a scam, or it's not real. And the thing is, you always just have to be a little bit more aware of who is giving you that advice and why, what's the intention behind it,
or where they came from. Right.
And like, if you're like, okay, I'm in a better position than this person, I'm definitely not taking this person's advice.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason for you to take that person. Doesn't mean like you're going to completely devalue anything that they say. Or
Yeah, for a grain of salt though. Like everybody
Right.
has something to offer, but maybe not everything is worth it as much. Cause I mean, I have Keaton on my team, and sometimes like he'll have some like advice to give me, and I can take it for a grain of salt, but I won't apply it as much as if somebody that actually has been putting in mad numbers gives me the same advice. Like I'll probably apply it a little bit more.
Yeah, I just want to put that caveat. Not that anyone who's not at my current position or higher, it doesn't mean like I don't like value what they have, or they don't have a perspective to add to it, because you can learn from that. But in terms of like overall business advice, and they tell you like this is the way to do it, and I'm like, okay, well, where are your tangible results that would indicate that your way is correct over mine?
Right.
So that's a great point. So, what is your so I guess we'll ask you a couple of these other questions, just as far as what, aside from money, what do you do this for?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I feel like everybody as a human being, we strive to find purpose. And like for me, I wanted to have like not a job, a career like that I was passionate about. And that's what I would do. And I would reach out to people when I try to recruit them. And I'd be like, well, do you love it? Is this something that you love where you could see yourself retiring, or are you just doing this, And I feel like for me, like I was in a lot of different positions. I've done like installing panels on a roof 3 stories up in the heat in Florida, to construction and vinyl to plumbing to sales at auto, door to door. Like I just never found anything I loved, and never something I was passionate about. And then like, to be real, like I wasn't even passionate as much about, like, I didn't know it was like actually my purpose until I came to FFL and was able to get my mom a policy, because I couldn't get her approved because my mom's very sick. I couldn't get her approved with a policy. Told me there was no way she could get coverage. And it was honestly, it broke my heart having to tell my mom that, like over Zoom. And then after I got her a policy approved, obviously later on, with another carrier, I realized like, wow, like I could help like more than just her. Like, holy crap, like my grandma's got cancer too. Like I'm gonna reach out to her and see what I can do for her. And like, it's just like I feel like we really can like give people hope in this job, and like this is actually my purpose now. Like I have passion like for what I do for people. And I had this story I was told to me by this gentleman who he had lost his son, and then the agent that had showed up had just been there to do a policy review, but the son had actually passed away, and that was the person they were doing the policy review for. Well, the dad was cleaning out the garage, and the agent was actually able to find out right there and let him know that he would be receiving the death benefit, and the policy had actually been set up, and the dad didn't even know there was a life insurance policy set up. That kind of stuff, like after like I heard that story, I realized like, wow, like that would really make a big difference in somebody's day, not just day, but week, and their whole entire life, how they have to adjust just for a loss. Because my family, we've had to adjust a few times for a few losses, and it's not easy. And you could lose the home. Families stop talking to each other. They split up. It's just, this is like a real source of love to give to the universe. Like this is like what being a human being is all about, is serving. Like this is why we're here. The purpose of like what we do to actually help. Like that's all that this is like about. Money's awesome, dude. Don't get me wrong. I've never been paid more in my life. But would I do it for less? Yeah, dude. And I would do it for a lot less, because I really do like what I do. At the end of the day, I do want to build financial freedom for my son, because I grew up mad poor with the lights off sometimes, and us using like the stove for heat. So my mom worked overnights while like I took care of my sister at home. So I just want to be able to give back to like my mom before it's too late, and make sure my son doesn't have the same life I had growing up. And that's what I've been doing the last year and a half. So I'm gonna continue to do that.
That's really awesome.
How old are you, by the way?
I'm 26, sir.
26. Wow. Smart guy. Jeez.
I know. Nick is a go-getter.
For real.
Thank you.
Yeah, but yeah, man, that's a great perspective to have. And I think a lot of times, we take for granted what we do. Sometimes we get caught up in the day-to-day stuff, and we take things personally, even though it's not personal. When like clients don't meet with us or don't book with us, or they're mean to us, and then when it hits different when your actual family is someone you can actually directly impact by doing the same thing. Now, if we all just took that same approach to all the clients that we talk to, there's someone's family. If we can just do the same thing like Nick has been doing for all these people here, I mean, that what an impact we can all make if we just recognize how much power we had by putting in the work.
Yep.
So let me ask you, Nick, like if for someone that's struggling, what would your advice be to them?
Reach out to your upline, and I mean, if you're struggling like with closing, feel free to reach out to not just your upline, reach out to me. I don't mind like offering any advice I can. I've told many people that were on my team, like, I'll be more than happy to run a field day with you if you live near me. Just make sure that you kind of like let me know what your schedule is so I can help. And I mean, yeah, I just think that if you're struggling, there's no way that you shouldn't be reaching out to somebody, because they can offer you any type of advice, whether it's what type of leads to run, whether it's how long you should be dialing, whether it's how many days to work, or what if you got like a full family and you have multiple kids and you're a new mom. Like, there's plenty of people who have been in that situation that have made it work here. It's just about you kind of figuring out who that person is. And if you're reaching around and talking to people like Erica Haynes, who's another beast in this industry, who made it work, there's people that I just think that are here to help. And like a 10-minute phone call, like, really isn't going to distract their day that much. I mean, I'm sure they're super busy, but they do care. There's so many people here that care. So yeah, just reach out. And then it's just going to spiral from there. And if you really are serious after you reach out, you'll follow whatever their instructions are giving you. You'll follow whatever advice is given to you. And if not, you'll fall off. And I'm just being real at that point.
Yeah, and just a word of advice for everybody. That's excellent advice. You should always reach out whenever you need help. The thing is, if you're going to take up someone's time, the thing is you need to commit to yourself and commit to them that you're actually going to take some steps and actually put it in action. You're actually not just like, you don't want that false confidence, just them telling you what they're doing. Then you just think
if somebody's pouring into you, you should definitely have the respect to be
owe
there.
it to them. You owe it to yourself.
Back in. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well,
exactly.
For all the people that are on here watching, Nick, that may not be with our company yet, if they're looking to get working with you, how do they do that? How do they reach you?
401-400-9566. Just reach out to me. I swear, I'll be more than happy to coach you, train you, help you learn the ropes. And I mean, if I don't think that I'm as qualified to do so, I have plenty of management around me. But I mean, I definitely can produce numbers if you just follow what you're told. I just think a lot of people aren't willing to do 100%. They're willing to do 90. And it really does matter, doing every single thing to the T, exactly how you're told.
90 is a little generous, but I get your point.
And do you have a social media?
Yeah, I do actually. It's just Nick_Caban, I believe. Here, one sec. I gotta make sure. Yes, it's just Nick.Caban. Just my name, just Nick.Caban. But yeah, for anybody that works for FFL, please follow me. The more people that work for FFL, the better. It's a bigger family, more social media broadcasts, more marketing advantages, more time that we can actually like share tips and tricks with each other, more videos Sean Mike's putting out that everybody else is gonna repost, I mean, if anybody wants any help, feel free. I'll be more than happy to offer what I can. I just don't think that there's anything special,
Yeah.
I just think it's really hard work. Like, it really is just hard work. And then just listening to what you're told and showing up on time and being a man of your word.
So for the people that you're looking to bring onto your team, what type of people are you looking for?
I always tell people that I look for sales athletes. So I like people with that killer mentality that just, in the end of the day, want to make sure that they can do better for their family, but make more money than they've ever made. I've never had uncapped potential income wise like I have here, or had a network or family that I could work with like here. So I mean, in the end of the day, I'm just looking for anybody that's my age bracket that, I mean, I don't care what gender you are. Honestly, I know that you can identify as a helicopter now, but I really don't care. Like, I'm just looking for anybody that's hungry, you know, that are willing to work. Because in the end of the day, the people that say that they want it, there's a lot of people out here with that $1 million dream and minimum wage work ethic that I just don't respect. So I think a lot of people say they want it, but don't know exactly what it takes. And then when they're shown what it takes, don't want to do it. So just anybody that's willing to do it and willing to put in the work to make more than they've ever made in their life, and just want a team of people that they can vibe with and actually get good advice from, and just guys who actually have like good interests at heart for you. Just, yeah, those are the type of people I'm looking for.
Awesome. Well, man, I really enjoyed talking to you. I mean, we've
Yeah,
got a
you
chance
too,
to talk a
Albert.
little bit. We've got a chance to communicate on social media, but I didn't know. I mean, I love your mindset, and how seriously you take this thing, and that positivity that you continue to radiate onto other people. And there's no wonder you've been able to grow your business up to
Thank
this
you.
point.
And that's actually something I actually do want to say a lot. Energy is a big thing. And I don't think a lot of people understand how much positivity can influence. So like, law of attraction is real. So if you believe enough in something, you can send those vibrations out into the universe, not to 100% have it happen, but you can definitely push for it to a stronger chance of it happening. So I think the power of belief is very strong. And if you actually are grateful when you wake up, you're radiating a certain vibration into the universe. And then at that point, it's actually going to return back to you what you're looking for. So if you can be grateful, you'd be surprised how much the universe serves you. I'll say that, especially when it's just you're looking for opportunities. You'd be surprised how many random referrals just called me out of nowhere, like when I needed it most. Like, I think the universe, if you can tap into it properly, is just here to help, So
you got the secret.
I know.
Wait, so you're saying I don't have to work? I just think positively and everything.
yeah, just affirmations, bro. Just write them down every day.
Prayed and prayed
just,
about.
just making sure. I'm
I
looking for the
prayed
trick.
about yesterday's $1 billion lottery, man.
Oh yeah. That would have worked. Are you going to the convention?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll see you guys there for sure.
For sure.
100%.
Excited to meet
we'll
you.
Definitely be there. But yeah, just to put a bow, this whole thing is it's all about change, and putting out the energy. You can change your immediate environment. You can change your mindset. And I was looking up stuff about change, because I was just like, I know myself. I'm looking at my business. I'm like, I want it to get better. I want to help more people. So there's certain things that I needed to change. We had the staff meeting. We talked about things that we needed to change. Going into change, I mean, change is such an interesting thing. You guys are familiar with that saying, don't mess with Texas.
Yeah.
Right. So like, don't mess with Texas. It seems like a pretty funny thing. That's like, yeah, we're a big state. We got, it's just everything's bigger in Texas. You know where it actually came from?
California.
An advertising agency actually came up with the slogan, because in the 80s, they're littering all over the highways. Right. They're spending over 20 million a year just for all the trash pickup.
Oh, geez.
Right. So in 1986, an advertising agency, they're like, the state of Texas was like the highway and transportation, department were like, we got to do something about this. So then they're like, yeah, look at this mess. So then they were going to just tell everyone like, hey, stop littering, which they tried plenty of times. No one really cared to change, because it was mostly, for the most part, it was mostly 16-year-old to like 35-year-olds. And they're all very anti-authority. So by virtue of you telling them not to do something, they're going to do it even more.
Interesting.
So they reversed it.
So the way that they had to, put this slogan into effect was, they're like, if we say don't mess with Texas, the thing that's going to keep people from actually littering is the fact that they take pride in their state. And then they're like, yeah, that's right. Don't mess with me, because I'm Texas. And, so then this whole like mindset just changed everything. Yeah. So then all of a sudden they started. So it's little stuff like that actually can affect change. And, for all of us, whether we want to admit it or not, we all need change in our life. Mm-hmm. The thing is, even if you're doing well, you could be doing better. We all have the opportunity to be able to do that. So when it comes to change, let's stop fighting it and actually take control of it. let's actually focus on the areas in which we can really improve and really impact right away. And don't look at change as such a bad thing. Don't think about it's you walking away from something. Look at change as something that you're embracing, and you're actually, you're choosing to make these changes because you're expanding into something bigger, expanding into something better for yourself. So, let's all look at the areas in our lives. Let's reflect on that. See where you can get better. See where you would better results in certain areas. How it would greatly impact you and those around you. And if we can all continue to make change a positive thing and take control of that, I mean, a couple of days from now, a year from now, 10 years from now, how different will all of our lives be?
For sure.
Okay. So, Nick, once again, really appreciate you coming on. We learned a lot from
I appreciate you guys having me. Seriously, it's super cool to talk to you guys. I hope somebody could take something away from this. And if anybody has any questions, you got my social media and my phone number. So just don't blow me up in the middle of the night.
Cool. Well, keep doing your thing. We actually got to get you out here in California and come get you in studio soon.
That'd be awesome. That would be sick for sure.
All right. So
I'll have to run some leads over there.
That's right.
All right.
All right. Well, all you guys for hopping on. Appreciate you guys sharing a little bit of time with us. And let's go out there and do what we can. Continue to help people take control of change and change for the better. Let's go. Let's be elite, guys.
Let's go.
Have a good one.